Florida earned the nickname the Sunshine State because of its sunny climate. With an average of 237 days of sunshine per year, Florida is the only state bordering both the Atlantic and the Gulf of Mexico, which is why it's home to some of the best beaches. World-famous attractions such as Walt Disney World and Universal Studios Florida make Florida a year-round tourist destination. But there are many attractions and activities outside the theme parks. At one time, an unmissable Florida tourist attraction was the London Wax Museum. Tussauds London Wax Museum opened its doors to the public on a beautiful March day in 1963. Located at 5505 Gulf Boulevard in the heart of stunning St. Petersburg Beach, the attraction quickly became one of the most popular sites along Florida's Gulf Coast. Good evening, and welcome to Insomnia Theater. I'm Paul Ganus. The London Wax Museum was a huge success and would feature more than 120 life-size wax figures in fancy, elaborate scenes, portraying the famed of history, horrors, and Hollywood, until the museum breathed its last 25 years later. At one time, travelers along Gulf Boulevard found it impossible not to notice the buzzing backlit sign of the London Wax Museum, a replica of London's famous Big Ben. The museum was the brainchild of Canadian T. Alec Rigby, a partner in the Ripley's Believe It or Not museums. Rigby also built several other wax museums and expanded the Ripley's chain into Canada as well as new American markets. Although many people remember the name of the museum as Madame Tussauds, the original signage and advertising read, "From Josephine Tussaud of England," with London Wax Museum being the primary business name. At some point in the 1970s, it became Louis Tussauds London Wax Museum, after Rigby acquired the rights to that name. Both Louis and Josephine were descendants of the famed Madame Tussaud. Her first name was actually Marie. Ripley Entertainment still uses the Louis Tussaud name today for their chain of wax museums, while Madame Tussauds wax museums, including the London original, are part of the Tussauds Group. A Josephine Tussauds Wax Museum operates in Hot Springs, Arkansas, but it is not part of either company. Opening day for the 8,000 square foot attraction was big news. Visitors walked past carefully staged tableaus of waxworks. There were 88 of them at first, at a reported cost of $1,000 each, of historical figures, characters from literature, and a dimly lit chamber of horrors with gruesome scenes of torture and execution, including an electric chair that buzzed, sizzled, and lit up blood red when a switch was tripped. The claustrophobic room also included less nightmarish figures of movie creeps like the Wolfman, Jekyll and Hyde, and the Boris Karloff version of Frankenstein's monster. Visitors ogled W.C. Fields and Jean Harlow, Walt Disney, Shakespeare and Mark Twain, Napoleon, Alexander the Great, and Henry VIII, a barroom full of lusty pirates and their wenches, Julius Caesar watching a bare-breasted Cleopatra taking a bubble bath, the assembled Allied and Axis leaders from World War II, and the somber deathbed of Abraham Lincoln, with the president's chest almost imperceptibly moving up and down as he drew his final breaths. At its peak, there were about 125 figures on display. All the museum's figures were created in England, with each hair surgically implanted and actual glass eyes. Only the lifelike heads and certain arms and hands were actually crafted from wax. The museum was undoubtedly one of St. Petersburg's most popular attractions. On rainy days, it would do especially well, averaging 1,000 visitors a day. But the London Wax Museum would inevitably face some stiff competition with the opening of Walt Disney World in 1971. The arrival of Disney signaled the beginning of the end for Florida's roadside attractions. How could waxy-faced statues of long-dead historical figures compete with animatronics and thrill rides? John E. Ted Stambaugh, a former St. Petersburg Beach City Commissioner and mayor, had been involved in the original real estate deal for the Wax Museum site and had stayed on as its manager. He bought the museum from Ripley's outright in 1978. Stambaugh tried to keep the place current, adding new pop culture figures like Freddy Krueger from Nightmare on Elm Street and Rambo. But modern children, used to the movement of Disney's audio-animatronic figures, showed little interest in wax still lifes. Tourism in the area and attendance declined. January 5th, 1989 turned out to be the museum's final day of operation. Plans that originally called for the museum building to be demolished to make room for the Bayside Village Market, where a new relocated version of the museum was to be opened eventually alongside the retail stores. But a dispute with the local government over the size of the new museum sign halted work on the relocation, and the London Wax Museum never reopened. Until next time, this is Paul Ganus. To quote Madame Tussauds herself, "In the world of wax, beauty knows no boundaries and creativity knows no limits." Thanks for watching. See you again soon.